Hey, it's Lynne Brown. I'm a speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team and a teaching partner with Empowered Living. And the first half of my life, I literally was trapped by the opinions of other people. And then in my spare time, I was a huge people pleaser. It was really more like living in a mental prison. And then one day I just got so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I don't know if there are any of you out there listening today, but if you're to that point that you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you're going to be super excited today to hear from our special guest. And it was at that moment, it was so interesting because when I took that step, that one step in the direction of my dream, things began to change. And it wasn't until later, because I kept saying things are changing, and then I saw Wayne Dyer's quote that said, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. And that was just so empowering to me. So now I've just committed to spend the rest of my life partnering with people who want to do the same. And today is no different. I'm super excited to introduce to you Vannessa McConkey Coaching. She is super excited and passionate about her work, and she is going to speak to our Gritty Women Nation today. Vannessa, welcome to the Gritty Women Global Podcast. We're so happy to have you.
Thanks, Lynn. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we were able to connect here. And I think that your message is as relevant as it could ever be during these times of uncertainty. I remember around March 12th is when, we started experiencing all the change around the world. And since then, it's just been like a tsunami to me of things, that we are encountering as a world, not just as a country, but just around the world. And we're all facing changes and becoming the, best versions of ourselves. So tell us today, Vannessa, what are you most excited about? Talk to us.
Oh, I love that you said becoming the best version of yourself, because that's what I teach my clients to do, is design the best of themselves. My tagline is designing the best you, because there was only one Lynne Brown created on this earth to do what you're supposed to do. There's only one Vannessa McConkey. There's only one of all of you women out there to do what you're supposed to do. And if we hide behind ourselves, we hide in a corner. And I know in this quarantine, we literally have to hide. But if we're hiding behind something that's fake, how can we present the best selves to the world, right? How can we present, my coaching, my career coaching, how can we present the best self of ourselves to an organization so that organization as a whole can serve our community, right? So that's what I'm so incredibly passionate about. It's people have been coming to me over the last handful of weeks, scared, freaked out. Oh my goodness, I got furloughed. Is that a guarantee that I'm going to get my job back? Oh my goodness, I got laid off. I'm in the hotel industry. Now what do I do? No one is going to go to a hotel for the next goodness knows how many months, right?
Yeah.
And if they do, they're going to be bringing their whole house to the hotel, right? So it's how do you pivot? That's what it's all in the minds. We've been given these beautiful things that we don't even use half of. And so how do we pivot in our mind to be able to now take what we've been designed to do and serve the world and bring this economy back to where it needs to be?
Wow. I can't imagine, just the state of people's emotions right now, really, probably just fear being number one. And how do you coach someone through that when they first come to you and the world is totally, their world to them is crumbling? What do you encourage them to do? Like, just what is one thing that you could do today that, you could talk about that might even encourage, a lot of our listeners today? What is one thing that they could do to move forward?
Yeah, one of the biggest things I always encourage people to do, and I've been doing this for years, even before it came a thing, is journaling. I wake up every morning, and especially as women, our minds are going from the second we open our eyes to the second we go down. When we wake up in the middle of the night, it's going. And we have to have a way to take those thoughts and get them clear, right? So what I always encourage is say, okay, most of the time I'll wake up and it's my kids are crying. I have young kids, they're crying, and I'm like, oh, okay, negative thought right away. So I have to start writing out any kind of thoughts that I have on paper. And so that's what I encourage people to do, write them all out. and positive, negative, whatever they are, grocery list, I don't care, write them out. And then when you start to see something like a negative thought, now you go back and you say, okay, great, that's a negative thought. Now, how can I turn that into a positive thought? Think about it as women. We are the ones who set the tone for our household. You can either be French toast and be this delicious thing that you have for breakfast and go off on your day, or you can be burnt toast and leave that nasty taste in your mouth, right? So when you journal and you're able to write that stuff out, and then you go back every day and you start to see patterns, right? There's different times of the month, right, that we're going to be crabbier than others, right? There's different times of the year. We all have different times of the year that we start to approach and we're like, okay, we probably should do something. For me, it's August. For some reason, it's August. And so I know leading up to that, I need to set specific times aside. I need to go away on a mommy weekend, whatever it is. So, but writing that out and going back and reviewing those every day, every week, every month helps you to improve, right? Because we don't want to make the same mistakes over and over if we can avoid them at all possibilities, right? So that's what I always encourage people to do, is just journal it out, write it out. And heck, I've had points in time where I've had clients say, I wrote it out, it was nasty, and I had to burn it. Fine, burn it. I don't care.
Whatever you have to do.
Whatever you have to do to get rid of that, because it all starts in our mind. We can change this entire world through our minds. We can change organizations, we can change our families, we can change our communities through our minds. And if our minds aren't right, and a lot of people studies have been done in this quarantine, people have been getting more depressed, more down on themselves, questioning their worthiness, questioning who they are and what value they really add, because they have more time to think about stuff. They're not inundated with so-and-so coming to their cubicle and talking to them, or the drive to work and the traffic and all these different things. They're at home all the time thinking about this stuff. So we need to get our minds right first, or we're not going to be able to change anything about ourselves, our families, organizations, and ultimately this world.
That is such a tremendous point. I mean, I think we do. It all begins in the mind. And, one thing that I am just fascinated with is the use of technology, our smartphones, these computers that we walk around with in our hand. We can't even walk to the next room without it. Well, I'll say Lynne Brown. Lynne Brown has a very difficult time walking to the next room without it. I work out with it, but I am unlearning some of these behaviors that I've created with it. And I am like you. I do, the first thing in the morning, I don't turn my phone on. I do my gratitude, my journal. I'm a person of faith, so I do my devotion, my quiet time. And then I write out my 10 dreams, and then I begin my day. And it's so amazing to look back on that too. And this is just a discipline that I had to create, because the first half of my life flying by the seat of my pants. And it's not very effective. Don't try it if you've never done that. Don't take my advice of what I did, but it's neat to look back and see the progress, because what we inspect and measure increases, and we have to have a result to improve a result. So I love the journaling. I'm so glad you brought that point out, because I think it's so good to hear it from multiple, sources. But I don't think we can do that enough. I just think that practice and that discipline alone has created so many more habits in my life.
And that's the great thing now about this time. If you go back in history, that's in all of these recessions and previous pandemics, what has come out of them? Amazing, amazing inventions and technologies and ideas. Because those successful people, if you look back, I just got the chills. Those people they journaled, they wrote, they thought, they read. That's what they did. And that's what we need to do too. And right, get quiet, right? I'm a woman of faith too. It's like, get quiet, right? How many times did Jesus go and get quiet? We don't know if he journaled. There's nothing that was recorded, but he may have, but he still thought and he prayed and all those things and got quiet. And if we don't do that, we constantly are in this busy state, which is, I'm really thankful. And I was telling my husband about this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, this quarantine, this pandemic is almost like when when God took and washed the earth away and had Noah on the ark, right? It was literally like, right? And he said he would never do it again, right? That's what the rainbow promise was. But it almost is like that, like, hey, we need to swipe out some people. We need to swipe away. We need to get people quiet, get them back into the family environments. And I think, and it almost brings me to tears because we were so separated, right? Okay, kids wake up, go to school, parents, you go to your work, everyone comes back at the end of the day, maybe quick have a meal or go to activities, boom, go to bed. That's not the life that we were designed to be in. Busyness is not life, right? It's okay to have some activities. I'm not condoning that, but you have to be very clear that God first, family, work, everything else comes underneath that. God's spouse, family, everything else. That's how it was designed to be. And people are, I have a book that I'm writing with Forbes right now, and it's coming out in August, and we're talking about working from home. Back in the day, look at the medieval times, look at all those times, their work was in their home. They had to learn how to manage all of that. I can't even imagine what their minds were like. They had more kids than most of us have running around, and they had the maids and servants and things like that. And they had their business clients coming in and out and running things and doing all the cooking and cleaning and things like that. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any studies or any research done that they were completely stressed out and depressed. Seems like they handled it fairly decently, whereas the rest of us are freaking out and getting depressed and overwhelmed over what, right? And I think it goes back to, people pleasing, like you said. We're trying to please our bosses. We're not supposed, yes, are we supposed to obey them? Sure, to a point. But if we don't set boundaries and we're constantly trying to please them versus pleasing number one up above, where is that getting us?
So true.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great point.
Because I've been there where I got to the point where I was pleasing people and I was pleasing organizations. And yes, was I still doing things for my family, but I literally got burnt out, went into, yes, I had postpartum depression, but had that on top of burnout and all that stuff. And I had health issues and everything, and was just a mess and was of no value to anyone, including myself. And I don't want that for anyone else. So if we take the time that we have here in this quarantine, step back and say, okay, I teach this to clients all the time. You've got your journal time in the morning, get up, move. I don't care if you go for a walk, you do yoga, you do a rigorous workout, you eat a decent meal, get up and get dressed. I know none of you can see me right now, but I've got a decent face of makeup on and I'm clothed. Okay, yes, I have yoga pants on still, but I still am up and running because it makes me feel better. And it makes other people around me feel better too. And then you can start your day and then have a clear start time. Do your work. I'm big on the Pomodoro method. Set a timer for 20, 30 minutes. When that goes up, get up, walk around. Your brain can't sit there and stare at a screen all day long. And to be honest, no one sits at work for 8 hours straight and stares at a computer screen. So if anyone says that they're going to sit there and they work 8 hours a day, like my husband has a hard time with, he's like, no, I need to put in 8 hours. I need to have my computer open so they see that I'm working. I'm like, no one does. It's proven there. And then, after you have all of those little times and those breaks, have an end time. I turn my phone off. We set it in another room. Spend some time with your family. Turn that work off. There's always going to be something that someone wants or needs from you. If it's really that important, they'll pick up the phone, they'll call you. If they're close enough, they'll come knock on your door. Other than that, an email, a text message is not important. Your family right there is important. Those are the people that are going to see. If you're sitting there on your phone with your kids, answering messages, and they're like, Mommy, play with me. Hey, Mom, can you read this with me? Hey, or your husband's walking in, hey, sweetie, and you're on your phone. That's not important. That shows where your value's at too.
It truly does. And I can already tell, there's so much more that that we could bring into this conversation, and we'll have to do it when your book is launched. We will definitely get you back on here to, just share some more insight with us. But wow, so many nuggets that you have brought out today. And even today when we were talking, before we began, I said, I know you're busy. Like, we're all so busy. And I am honestly been trying not to, I'm not trying, that's trying is lying. I have been taking that word out of
I hate that word.
my vocabulary, because that is such a cop-out word. It means nothing except you're out of control. And so it's really not a fab word. I think a lot of people think that means, oh, I'm just doing so much. No, it really doesn't. So I just appreciate you so much, just leaning into that value piece, because whatever we're doing, whatever our careers, our job, our passion, if it is not lining up with our true values, we will continue to just feel like you were describing earlier, when you were burned out, and when your body was even not in total health. Yes, you had babies, but still we have to take care of ourselves first. And I think that's one of the biggest lies that women tell ourselves a lot of times, is that we don't have time. I don't have time to do that. So many people tell me, I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to blah, blah, blah. It's just easier to grab, whatever for lunch. It's easier to grab this. And I'm thinking, until these things are taken care of, you're never going to have the results you want in your life. It's an integrity issue too. And, like I said, oh my goodness. Yeah. We need to get you back on the show. Well, we're going to definitely do it. I'm so excited about your book. I can't wait to hear more about it. And I don't think there's, again, a more crucial time for people to be looking at their lives, to really see if they're in alignment. And it's great. It's like we've had this massive snow day, or somebody said, like, we've been grounded, and everybody was sitting in their rooms to think about what you truly want in your life. And we're all in the same playing field now. So take advantage of this time, even though we're transitioning to a new part of this great adventure we've all been on. It's not over quite yet.
Yeah. And the great thing, like, I have clients tell me all the time, like, well, how do we know what's going to happen next? I'm like, do you really know what was going to happen even before this pandemic? No. That's the cool thing, is we don't know what's going to happen next. So take the risk, right? Yeah. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow, even the next hour. Take the risk. What do you have to lose? I tell people all the time, like, okay, well, when they're reaching out to maybe a recruiter or company, and they're like, well, I don't know what to say. The worst they're going to say is no.
Yeah. And it's nothing against you. Don't take it personal. Just pick up the phone, do whatever, make contact, reach out, take a risk. That's right. Just jump and build your wings. That's what we say, just jump and build your wings. As we wrap up here, how can people contact you? Do you have a website, best way to connect?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn for sure. That's my favorite platform. Also on Instagram at Vannessa_McConkey_coaching. And Vannessa is spelled differently, so I know you'll have all the links for that. And then my website is VannessaMcConkey.com. And there we go.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been so awesome to have you. And just real quick, when you think about the word gritty, G being for gratitude, resilience, inspiring, the 2 T's in gritty are for thinking tough, and Y is you do you. Which one just resonates with you?
I like the you do you, right? Again, going with my tagline of designing the best you, it's you do you. Don't search on social media for someone else. Don't copy and paste. You do you.
So important. Wow. I mean, we're literally 1 in billions. I mean, there's nobody that has your fingerprint, your heart, your brain, just nobody. You are you. So do you. That's awesome. Vannessa, thank you so much for being with us today. I cannot wait to have you back. I'm super excited about your book coming out, and just who you are as a person, a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur. Wow. You've been a great encouragement today, I know, to so many. So thank you so much. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome.